size. So I'll come next to the person sitting right next to me. That's easiest. Hirshon.
Well, I thought what he said was very interesting, actually, and I think I come from an interesting standpoint because when I was in journalism school, undergraduate, it was still like at the very end of the newspaper era, and I dreamed of being a newspaper reporter, which I became a reporter at the Daily News for 6 years. And then right around the time I was starting is when social media started to come over. When I was in college, when Facebook came out, and then Twitter became really big, and I was relatively late getting a Twitter account in like the fall of 2010, and now I tweet a lot. But from a journalistic standpoint of what does this mean, I guess, for journalism, and he spoke to the democratic aspect of Twitter, and where Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or anything where people are now deciding what they want to read. I think it takes a lot out of the game as far as knowledge that's going around. If you're reading a newspaper, even if you went into that newspaper just because you were interested in a certain topic, news from your country, let's say, but then you start to read about other things, you become interested in sports and fashion and gossip, politics, you get a little bit of everything. I think that's lost a lot with social media because you're going with a certain element, you're looking at certain accounts, hashtags that you're interested in, on Twitter, and also now media outlets are going for what's going to get the most hits, what's going to get people retweeting the most, which unfortunately are not the stories that we would hope they are going to be. I saw this at the Daily News where a lot of my fellow reporters would always joke about all these photo galleries we had online of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and Kim Kardashian and something crazy that she's doing, which is all the time. And the reason why we would put that up, of course, is not because it's legitimate news necessarily. I mean, to an extent, there's always some gossip in news. But that's what's getting retweets, that's what's getting hits. And it's very sad commentary on what people are interested in. This goes to that core question of journalism. Should it be about what people want or what we feel people should know? And they're not usually the same. All the time when I would be on assignments writing whatever story it was, people would say like, we're fighting a war in Iraq right now, we're fighting Afghanistan, how come you're not reporting on that? And it's like, well, we're reporting on that as well. But there are so many other things that are going on that are really important in community news, and people just aren't attaching themselves to it. And recently, since I'm a professor of journalism at St. John's University, LaGuardia Community College, I use Twitter in my classes. I've just started in the last few semesters having students tweet, and we developed a class hashtag that they could follow along with. And it's interesting because I asked them, like, just tweet a story that you're interested in, and it usually is not, unfortunately, stuff that we consider like of high value. It's sort of that illegitimate Jolie, Pitt, Brangelina, that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to see where this is all going to take us. I think it is a very exciting forum. It's great to be able to reach out to new people who I think would never be able to read your stuff before. If you're just a traditional print media person and you're limited to your market, even in New York City is a large market, but now it's going around the world at an incredible pace. I mean, right before this event was starting, I was tweeting using a Bangladesh hashtag, and I'm sure that eventually people in Bangladesh are going to see that, I guess, when they wake up. So yeah, it's great to see what readers are interested in and interact with them, but there's also, I think, some problems when we start to just only go for the hits and the retweets, and we don't consider other aspects of journalism.
So social media.